Hello and welcome to your NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday the 12th of May 2025. It's Gary here again, and I'd like to start by wishing everyone a very, very happy Barry Ferguson finally won a game at Ibrox day. That was quite... oh, that was record breaking for all the wrong reasons. I think I probably talked about that a wee while back, and it was looking like that. I mean, the games that we had in terms of Aberdeen and Dundee United to remain, it was looking like we could have extended that with the way that we were playing. And then all of a sudden we have what we have yesterday, which I'll get to in just a wee second. And today we're going to talk a wee bit about football, and then we're going to have some significant convention talk. Really, that's going to be the theme between now and the middle of next month. Actually, do you know what? Between now and 1 month exactly from today, because as you know, the convention is June the 12th to the 15th. But in terms of the opener for here and this week, it is all about the fact that we are one game closer to the end of this miserable season. And I can say that because we're obviously out of Europe now. We've seen some complete funky results last week in terms of what we might have faced had we gone into the Europa League semi-final, and the semi-final, sorry, the final now is with two teams that we could and should have beat. Definitely should have beat Tottenham at the group stages of the Europa League, and Man United were very, very lucky to get that last minute winner against us. And it just, it's one of those, that's one of the beauties of sport, isn't it? It's one of those what could have been, coulda, woulda, shoulda, that sort of thing. But anyway, let's go on with the game segment for the second last time this season. Obviously, I'll do the two games next week, and then that will be it until I guess that'll be the European qualifiers coming up around about the end of July-ish time, something like that. And we had a very, as it turns out, comfortable 4-0 win at Ibrox, as I mentioned there on the intro, to give Barry Ferguson and his team the first win at Ibrox there. And do you know what? It was literally a game of two halves for me. I'm a bit bleary-eyed in the morning when I wake up, and it's not like there's the usual passion and enthusiasm that there would be when we're playing against Aberdeen, whether it's home or away. But the first half, oh boy, that was a snooze fest. It really was, and it didn't look like nothing of a whole bunch of much was going to be happening in the first half, apart from a wee bit of a flurry towards the end of the half. We had an early miss from Cyril Dessers after a brilliant ball by James Tavernier. He played well. He's been playing well actually this last wee while, Tavernier that is, and Dessers of course is continuing to score goals. And just to that point, there wasn't really a whole bunch of anything happened. Nico Raskin was posted missing. In fact, most of the team kind of where it was a bit flat. It was kind of interesting where, and one of the like Tom Miller said, something like 50,474 people packed into Ibrox today. I don't know about that, Tom, because it looked like a lot of people dressed as blue seats, let's just say that. But Cyril Dessers scored right on half time. That ultimately proved to be offside. I thought he was really unlucky with that one, actually. And then Aberdeen, just about a minute late, maybe a minute and a half later, a minute later, did the same. They scored a minute later, and that was ruled for offside as well. Both teams changed at half time, and kind of thought, quite honestly, I kind of thought we were going to see a wee bit more from Aberdeen. We're not playing for anything, and Aberdeen are, and it just seems to be that I don't know if they're limping towards the end. I mean, they had some amount of away support at Ibrox there on Saturday. That was kind of almost back to the heady days of Aberdeen when they were the second best team and we were the first back in the 90s. And so anyway, we had a brighter start to the second half with both teams actually having chances. Aberdeen had hit the outside of the post fairly early on. Then we got a brilliant ball, and this was a bit of a theme from Nico Raskin to Czerny, who took it through. And I just love the way, see when he's going through one-on-one, he's one of these guys, I know he's missed a few, but he's one of these guys that I've got, anyway, I'm not speaking for everyone here, but I've got absolute confidence that he's going to, at the very, very least, make the goalie work. And, and there's a really strong possibility in there that he's going to score, and score he did. He took it fairly early, poked it in for 1-0. And then not long afterwards, the guy I was just lauding there, James Tavernier, has what do you call it? Like a suicide pass that he has to give Aberdeen the chance, and thankfully Liam Kelly was up to the task to stop that. But just one of these blind, stupid passes. I mean, he's the most senior guy at the team. He's been the captain for a very long time, one of our best players, certainly over the last 10 years. And like to have that sort of brain fart in an important game that's broadcast across the country, it's beyond belief. Sometimes it really is. Then Raskin turns provider again with a beautiful cutback to take the Aberdeen defender out. The Aberdeen defender kind of committed himself a wee bit early. I thought that's the sort of thing I will do tomorrow night in my home season opener. It's actually not home season opener, my season opener, and where I play at 6:30 p.m. for my team, and I'm looking forward to getting back out there. But anyway, Raskin does that, slots it across, Dessers taps in, back on the score sheet again. Then there's a brilliant control and volley by Igaman, and that's what, if I'm his agent, I'm putting all this stuff together in this wonderful video and scouting it across all leagues across the entire world, but more likely in Europe there, because the ball gets cleared out to him. He controls it once, which basically falls for him, and he puts a brilliant volley into the back of the net. Made a big difference with that one. Just a great goal. Doesn't seem to score the simple ones, and not in a Dessers way where he misses the simple ones. He just doesn't seem to put himself in the position for the simple ones. And you know, this boy is absolutely special. Still not sure why he's not getting started in more games, but the coaching staff, you have to trust in them. They're the guys that know what they're doing, certainly in terms of their own playing career. And he was another substitute there, and a really well worked team goal for the fourth goal. I thought it was Cherney. I seen the replay 100 times, and they say it was Jeffy. It was kind of quick, and it's very early in the morning here, so maybe I missed it. But Jeffy gets his first goal for Rangers, but really good move there, dummies and moving the ball around quick and such. And it's just more like Rangers games at home, and quite honestly, to be very fair to Philippe Clement, that's what the games were like at home up until he just hit that skid of essentially Queen's Park and what was it, Motherwell, I think it was, straight after that, and that was basically the end of his tenure. But Ibrox was the fortress at the beginning, and we just kind of got back to that, and it was just an odd game, very flat first half, and then a resounding victory in the second half. The positives, of course, the score, the clean sheet, the second half performance, definitely. And then we also got a very lovely message on Rangers TV. If you were watching it there, you would have probably caught it, where Tom Miller had paid dedication to Tam Plunkett, who of course is one of the founding fathers of NARSA, and saying that it was 20 years since Tam's passing. And that's a poignant time. That's a long time as well, isn't it? And his legacy continues with us. Of course, we have the Tam Plunkett Blue Night, which is on the Friday evening of our conventions. So that was really poignant. That was really nice. Thank you, Tom, for doing that. We had a great second half. We scored 4 really good goals, and it was really good to see Casemiro back in the team, and Bailey Rice getting some more game time as well is never a bad thing. He just looks older, Bailey Rice, doesn't he? And I wonder if that's actually going to serve him well in terms of integrating into the team. He's not like one of these super fresh-faced teenagers where you're kind of like, oh, he looks like a boy and he kind of acts like a boy. He's got that kind of manly look about him, and I think that will serve him well, certainly in the early start or part of his career. In terms of negatives, if I was being a wee bit critical, Jeffy's passing at the beginning of the game was absolutely all over the place. I actually texted a couple of groups I'm part of to say, did he sign for Aberdeen just before the game? Because he passed it to them. It seemed like every single pass was going to an Aberdeen player, but he did play a lot better in the second half. So other than that, no real complaints with a 4-0 victory, especially after this season. In terms of the stats, 70% possession, 20 shots on goal with 11 on target. We scored 4 of them, so it's a 30%, roughly, a wee bit more than 30% conversion on that. That's not bad, I suppose. And versus Aberdeen's 7 shot on goal, 4 on target. Kept a clean sheet. Good for Liam Kelly doing that again. In terms of the ref watch, David Dickinson did all right. I don't recall a time when he got too annoying, and no complaints, did his job, so that's good. Here was an interesting thing. So he's going to get 7 out of 10 for that. You know, that's what you get if you don't create any drama. Interestingly, the game yesterday, I looked at Alan McWatt, who, as you know, is our broadcast RTV director, and he put a note out on Saturday saying, just a quick reminder for tomorrow's game, it's live in the US on Paramount Plus, and typically in Canada we don't get the games that are on Paramount Plus in the States. And he also said it's on Fubo in Canada. And I thought, that's odd, that must be a bit of a mistake. And lo and behold, Alan was absolutely right, because it was on Fubo. So I was watching it on Rangers TV, which I always want to do, but I turned on Fubo on my TV. I was watching the game on my laptop, and it was the Sky commentary with that guy, what is it, Ian Crocker or whatever, I can't remember his name, but that guy who, I love his commentary when he's commentating on us beating Celtic and he's all enthusiastic. I hate it when the scores are reversed and he's still as enthusiastic for that. But I didn't get a chance to look at it at half time to see if there was an actual halftime show, because Fubo is a wee bit hit and miss with that. There was certainly nothing after the game, because I kept it on then, because our game was about maybe 40 seconds on RTV, a wee bit ahead of the Fubo coverage, and then afterwards it just went to highlights of English Premier League games. So very interesting to see if that's going to continue for next year, because that gives us options and opportunity. If you're in the club and something's happening with Rangers TV, you can switch over to Fubo, or it might end up actually creating a bit of a situation where some clubs might opt out to some of the games that are on Sky Sports and stuff like that. So yeah, just wanted to raise that. Interesting, and thanks to Alan for pointing that one out, and we'll see what that looks like, I guess. I wonder if this weekend's game's going to be on. I guess we'll see. We'll figure that out. Next games we've got, I mentioned briefly earlier, we've got Dundee United at home on Wednesday, the 14th of May, and that's a 2:45 Eastern Standard Time kickoff, 7:45 in the UK. Our last home game of the season. I can't imagine that there would be a massive crowd there for that night either. And it's not even one of these ones where you kind of know you're saying goodbye for the last time at Ibrox to some of the players, because there's a lot of players. In fact, probably almost every player you would imagine is probably in the we just need to wait and see boat with regards to the takeover, new management team and structure, and taking it from there. I did get a stat, I guess it was actually shown on Sky Sports not long before the game started on the weekend. They are saying, giving you like Barry Ferguson's last 10 games in defensive stats. I can't remember exactly what was on it now, but he was basically between, I think it was like between 10th and 12th in the league for everything in terms of goals conceded and chances not converted and such. So not a shining endorsement for Barry and team to get the job. And you could tell there's a wee bit of a shift in terms of he's saying all the right things, but his record really isn't really standing up to kind of give the new owners a bit of a headache to say, oh no, what do we do here? We had designs on another guy, and Barry's absolutely hit it out the park game after game after game. He did give us some pride back in terms of the European performances kind of continued. That I wouldn't lay all that in Barry, but in terms of the Old Firm games, big difference just having them care about what they're doing. So yeah, so it's going to be kind of weird, because it will be Barry and team's last game there, but the players are, I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to keep a close eye on that on Wednesday, and then on the weekend, Saturday brings this dire season to a close with an early kickoff, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12:30 p.m. UK, and that's away to Hibs. Both the men's and the women's team are playing Hibs on the last game of the season, which I'll get to in a wee bit there. But the only thing is, maybe I mentioned last week or not, but I think we get to Impact who's going to, or what's going to happen in terms of Europe. I'd love to have 2 victories and then see the rest of them sweat and do whatever, because I really don't care about any of the other teams in the world, actually, but certainly in the fight for European spots. Okay, in terms of shout outs, I mentioned briefly last week there was a pre-birthday announcement for my beautiful baby boy Leo. Leo is now 16. He turned 16 on the weekend, and I managed to surprise him. He's a very difficult guy to surprise, and I managed to surprise him with a new set of golf clubs that he was going to use, and he didn't know that he had them. He actually had my niece Chloe's old clubs for the longest time, and he said, oh, I'm going to play golf with my pals on Friday, I will need to swing by and grab the clubs. And then I had the clubs already set up in the garage, so when we opened the garage door, they're there. And yeah, it's nice to catch him every now and again, and he was very pleased, very thankful for them. Apparently they didn't do much good in terms of his ability to blast it into the trees off the tee on Friday, but we'll get better there. But here's another brilliant thing that happened, and it's a very brave move, because you know you don't want to be a failure in anything. in your life. And he booked his driving test. He agreed to book his driving test for Saturday. You can drive at 16 here in Alberta, and he's been driving for a couple of years now. I've been taking him out for to teach him kind of what I know and giving him the pointers and tips and tricks. And he also did some formal driving lessons as well, which gives him a wee break on his insurance, and he passed his test. All of that to say, my beautiful baby boy passed his test. I was as nervous as a kitten when he was away. I don't typically get nervous for myself, but man, oh man, I was just pacing when he was gone. And then him and the instructor get out, and then they do a wee walk around the car, and I'm like, what does that mean? Because he took the test in my car. So I'm standing careless. I ran over to Starbucks and grabbed a cup of tea and ran back, and I'm waiting, and then the two of them are walking towards me, and there's the blank expressions, and I'm like, come on, gonna tell me what happened. And then Leo just gives me a wee confident nod, and that was brilliant. I don't mind admitting there was a tear shed when we went in to get his licence renewed or upgraded from class 7 to class 5, and get his new plates, because he has a new car that he paid for himself with all of his savings that he's accumulated over the years. So he's now driving on his own. I tell you, by the way, like, I feel like redundant now. I don't like there's Last week was the last time I have to take him or take his stuff over to his mum's when we transition. You know, we do a week about, and now I can literally go anywhere. And if I have 2 or 3 or 4 beers, I could just message him and say, hey, you need to come and pick me up. And he'll be like, I'm busy. And I'll be like, hey, I was busy for 16 years and I still got you where you needed to go. So this is brilliant news. I'm sorry for overdoing it this week. Actually, I'm not. I'm so proud of him. I'm so happy for him. And it's a monumental change in the Gillen household now. So good, man. I was absolutely buzzing the whole weekend there. And talking about buzzing, the women's team won 1-0 against That Mob at That Mob's ground there on the weekend. So this... I was a bit dejected last week, and because it looked like they blew it with the 2 back-to-back defeats when they were in such a commanding position. And now, lo and behold, because both Hibs and Glasgow City drew, and they're playing each other, I believe, that we now have a situation where my understanding is if Rangers win the next 2 games, which is not exactly a guarantee, of course, that they will be the champions because they're so far ahead on goal difference. How ironic would that be, eh? If they lost it on goal difference last year and won it on goal difference this year. So the league table right now stands, Hibs are still top. So Hibs are in a commanding position. Hibs are on top on 71 points. Then it's Rangers women's team on 68. And we are also on 68 with Glasgow City. And we all have 2 games to play. So the next game that the Rangers women's team have is away to Hearts on Wednesday. Now, that's been a bit of a banana skin as far as I can recall for the women's team. And then they're at home to Hibs. So being at home at Ibrox, and it's going to be at Ibrox this weekend when Glasgow City are playing Hearts there, you know, that we're in control of what happens in the Hibs game as much as you can be in control of a game. And Glasgow City, it's going to be very interesting to see what that looks like, because they are obviously still in with a chance as well. If we were to, well, actually, let me just figure that out. No, they're kind of not. So it's really just between Rangers and Hibs, isn't it? Because even if Glasgow City won and we drew, they wouldn't be able to catch Hibs. Yeah, so it's just between the women's team and Hibs. Right, okay, my apologies. I'm doing this real time as I'm just looking at the league table here. So I'm hoping, especially if we get a good result on Wednesday, I'm hoping it'll be a big crowd at Ibrox on Saturday. I mean, this will be monumental and stage 2 of a treble. The challenge is that the team, and especially in the last, what would you say, 2 months, maybe a wee bit longer, have just been a roller coaster. When you think they've hit a groove, something bizarre happens. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens on Wednesday and ultimately win the next 2 games, and that's it. You don't have to worry about goal difference. You don't have to worry about anything else. Win the next 2 games, and that's it. So it looks like, in fact, regardless of what happens midweek in terms of Hibs, I don't actually know who Hibs are playing midweek here, but I'm hoping it's going to go to the wire. Obviously, if Hibs win the midweek and Rangers don't, then that's it all over, and Hibs have won it. But hopefully, let's take it to the last game and see. And interestingly, now that I know that, Hibs are actually playing That Mob. So diet them versus them on midweek. So that'll be interesting to see if the Mob from the East End will do Hibs a favour or whatever. Yeah, who knows? I mean, it could go into the fact that if they were to win, I don't want to do this, right? You get the gist. It's not quite as easy as it looks. It's not quite as cut and dried as it looks, and it's going to be very, very interesting. And in terms of shout-outs, Rangers did actually win something meaningful this season, the men's team. In general, I'm talking about because they were presented with the SPFL Pitch of the Season award, the inaugural award for having the best pitch of the season. And I'm going to read a wee bit out of the article here. Rangers ground staff were today presented with the inaugural SPFL Pitch of the Season award. Pro Pitch, in partnership with the SPFL, delivered the first pitch support programme this campaign to support and enhance pitch quality across Scotland. As part of that, assessments were carried out on pitches across the country, with the Ibrox playing surface coming out on top. The recognition is a testament to the outstanding dedication and professionalism of the team, who have delivered exceptional playing conditions at Ibrox throughout a season marked by unique challenges. Yes, that's a very polite way to say how this season has gone. And at the start of the campaign, the team had to contend with the disruption caused by the ongoing works at Ibrox. That was followed by a testing winter period, yet the quality and consistency of the playing surface never wavered. Now, here's the reason why I'm reading this part out, because I think this is the first time that I can recall an article featuring Rangers chairman Fraser Thornton. And it says, Rangers chairman Fraser Thornton commented, "This award is richly deserved and reflects the professionalism, expertise and relentless commitment of our ground staff. With the added complication this year of the Copeland stand works and the limited maintenance time at the end of the pitch, for it to have remained of the highest quality through the winter months right through to today is a testament to their fabulous work. I pass on my warm congratulations to David Roxburgh and his team for this achievement." So there you have it. We have an official chairman who has made an official statement out there. I think he's a real guy. I really do. And I extended an invite to the Rangers chairman to come and join us at the convention next month. And we haven't enjoyed a chairman over since Dave King. And maybe that's actually the only time. I'm not 100% sure. I need to go back in my historical notes and archives to see if that's the case or not. But it would be wonderful to meet him and see what he's going to tell us. Just another shout out for the Melbourne City Loyal Rangers Supporters Club Culture Weekend, November 21st to 22nd. You have Ian Ferguson, Gary Stevens, Stuart Monroe, and a whole bunch of other fun stuff going there. Okay, convention time. 31 days, as I mentioned earlier there. It's a month to go. 31 days and 4 weeks. The time is absolutely flying by, and that's until we get down June the 12th to the 15th. Omni Orlando at Champions Gate. It's called Omni Orlando at Champions Gate. It's in Kissimmee. Please trust me on that. And we had a meeting with the hotel last week, which I mentioned, which then spurred further conversation over email. And we had a quick, it's more correspondence with our Rangers partners. We now have 2 meetings tomorrow, one with the Omni Hotel and one with Experience Kissimmee, in terms of on-site support, what we need, what we're planning to do, what that looks like and such. So if you're coming to the convention, now is the time where you need to start figuring out what that actually looks like for you. Last week I did an entertainment announcement to give you an idea that we had the wonderful Callum Beattie coming to join us, and I have another entertainment announcement this week to let you know that Keir Mitchell is going to supplement our already announced Callum Beattie, and he is going to give us some entertainment, likely on a Thursday, maybe a wee bit on a Friday, and at various points over the weekend. Keir was on the pitch at Ibrox last season at the Hearts game, I think maybe the last home game of the season. I can't remember exactly what that was, and he's got a wonderful repertoire of songs that you will know in terms of Rangers songs and such, and I know that Keir is absolutely bursting to tell everyone what he's doing. My announcement now gives him permission to go viral on his own socials and such and get that out there, and we can unleash him over there, and he's really looking forward to it. We're really looking forward to meeting him and having him regale the fans as well. So the majority of our entertainment lineup is now concluded with Callum and Keir. We are obviously sourcing a band for the Saturday night in terms of the general entertainment that we would have on the Saturday night, and a DJ is to come as well. Typically don't announce the DJ, but I'll maybe say a wee bit more more about the Saturday Night Band next week. They're direct from Disney, literally. So they're going to be absolutely brilliant. And we have had a few inquiries in terms of our tickets. Of course, our tickets, a 3-night package, $265 US for the 3-night package. And we've had some requests to break the tickets out. Typically, we do that a little bit closer to the time. Now that we are full steam ahead, I can tell you that we have now 2 different packages on our website for sale. One is for the Thursday Friday. That's a combination of Thursday Friday, and that's $100 US. And the other one is $170 for the Walter Smith Memorial Grand Banquet only. So 2 different packages, well 3 now, with the full 3-night package, or the 2 nights Thursday Friday for $100, or the $170 for the Walter Smith Memorial Grand Banquet. Lovely meal, fantastic entertainment, couple of speeches from the VIPs and such who are there, and an opportunity to get suited and booted and toast being a Rangers fan. So very, very, very exciting. And to add to that, I put out an email last week there to our main distribution list saying that we do have the golf out for booking and the football out for booking. I've had 1 or 2 requests. I think we've actually got 2 4-balls now for golf, and they're going to hold the golf for us, or hold the tee times, which are a wee bit later than we typically have because we're doing this so late. They're going to hold the tee times for us till Wednesday this week, so you don't have a lot of time to get on that if you're planning to golf. It's probably going to be roughly about $150 or something like that. We don't have an absolute price, but once we know what the numbers look like, it's not going to be exorbitant in terms of $250 or anything. They are 2 championship courses. We're getting one of them. They're on the property. There's no transportation or travel required. You could just walk over basically to the course and get yourself organised for the golf. So if you're planning to golf, you need to let me know ASAP so that we can get ourselves organised. And the exact same for football. Golf is going to be on the Friday, which is the 13th of June, Friday the 13th. I'm sure that's not an omen. And the football is going to be early on the Saturday too. So we're looking to get at least 22 players to field 2 11-a-sides, and we'll see what that looks like. So if you're planning to play football, we're not 100% sure the cost of the football either. It's basically the costs of your jersey, so we're trying to source them right now as well. So expressions of interest right now, please email me at rangersSCC@hotmail.com. That's 2 S's and 2 C's, rangersSCC, and let me know if you're in for football or in for golf. And also give me an email address and some names if you were, say, for example, booking on behalf of a couple of people. Let me know what their names are and what the main contact email address would be so that we can start to get that organised as well. As I mentioned earlier, we've invited Rangers Football Club leadership to come over. We always do an invite for the chairman and the CEO and the fans liaison officer, the captain, the first team manager, and such like that. So we're working on some other bits and pieces here. It's getting to the nitty gritty, and we have some conversations coming up over the next wee while. So basically every week between now and then I'll be announcing something new, and you'll get to see it on our socials and such as well. Just another quick reminder that we do need you, if you're on a UK passport, to get your ESTA for the United States, so that doesn't give anyone any need to stop you at the border, and who knows what sort of fun and hilarity will be going on in the States 4 weeks from now, or 4 and a wee bit weeks from now. Just another reminder, if you're looking to get information in the magazine, please contact Colin at thepeople@orlandorsc.com. That's thepeople@orlandorsc.com, and then you'll get an opportunity to be in the magazine. He'll let you know what the pricing is and the file structure and such like that. I've seen a couple of mock-ups of the magazine for this year. They are absolutely, this is going to be one of the best ones ever. It's been done with the features and such that Colin is putting together. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So we are all systems go. I'm kind of buzzed now. I was on a bit of a downer for quite some time because we had no idea truly what was going to happen. Now that we are all systems go, I am into it. I booked my flights last week. I am there, and I can't wait to see everyone else there. And just another reminder that in terms of the admin, we do have our general meeting on the Saturday afternoon, late morning, early afternoon, and that's for NARSA members. And if you have any interest in joining the NARSA executive and getting to work with myself and whomever else remains after this one, then you can, up to and including the AGM, put your nomination and get a seconder. And if it goes to a vote, you'll get voted on, and if it doesn't, you'll get voted in by acclamation. We are looking for a treasurer for sure, secretary for sure, potentially VP, and other bits and pieces. So get in touch and let me know what you think about that. For communications for this week, the just two main bits here that we have, and one is for today, for the Gers guide today, we've got the Rangers women's team highlights. Actually, there's lots scheduled for today in terms of content that the club are pushing out, but the two big things are the women's team highlights. There's going to be some highlights of the men's team on there as well, and a Leon Balogun interview as well. Tomorrow's the loan review as normal, and then the press conferences for both the men's Dundee United game and the women's Hearts game. And then Wednesday are the games themselves. The women's game's a wee bit earlier. I think it's a 6:30 p.m. UK kickoff time. Not a lot happening Thursday. Friday's the press conferences for both Hibs games, the men's and the women's. And then the men's game is on the Saturday, as I mentioned earlier. The women's is on the Sunday at noon UK. So depending on what happens midweek, that could be something worth getting up nice and early for on Sunday to see how that works out. But best of luck to the women's team from everyone here at NARSA. And a monumental week. This could be the second leg of a treble here. You just never know. So we'll see how that goes. And the last bit of communication we had was the minutes of the fans advisory board meeting with Rangers leadership came out last week, and there was a lot of kerfuffle. Obviously, I mentioned it very briefly last week about the tifo that was displayed in the Copeland stand with Souness with the gun and the rebel, the rebel reference and such, and that ended up having given the club and the fans board an opportunity to talk about it directly. You'll see the information that came from that. There was lots and lots of people from the club there, and I think they outgunned the fans board by 2-1 or something like that, so nothing like going mob-handed. But the club basically said, we've got things that we need to do and things that we need to protect and are bigger and more pressing our political avenues. This is my words, it doesn't say that on the document. And, we take on board what you're saying, but maybe we need a new process. I mentioned a process last week. I mean, to give carte blanche creativity or creative license to the group to put a tifo together, and all the tifos have been magnificent, every single one of them, on a game like that. If you've got some sensitivities around it, when you see some of the other stuff that we're subjected to over at Sharkhead or up at Pittodrie or wherever else it is, ours are just timid fun, and theirs are just hatred and vile, disgusting, such that stuff that they put out there. So we'll see how that goes over the next wee while. We've only got one more game to worry about it, and I don't know if they'll be doing a tifo on Wednesday night there, so maybe it's just for next season, and we'll figure that out. It did seem like the club jumped the gun a wee bit last week, and obviously we didn't see any backtracking, so it's one of these things. What happened. We'll move on and be better for the experience. All right, I had no idea this was going to be quite a long one this week because I didn't think I had too much information to share, but Leo's important to me, the convention is important to me, telling you other stuff about Rangers is important to me and hopefully to you. So that will do it for this week. As always, thank you very, 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 very much for taking the time to tune in, and please do share it with anyone else that you think might enjoy it, especially if they're thinking about the convention and looking forward to the events that we're having here in a month's time. Good news is we've only got, 5 days to go, 6 days if you include the women's team, and then the season for us is done. They obviously have a cup final to look forward to. That's what we are supposed to be like on the men's side, guys, just for future reference. But until next week, please do take care of yourself and all the very best, okay? Follow.